Grantham, a town famed for its ties to Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher, but in more recent years it is rather a club than a person which captivates its community. Situated on the outskirts of the town is Grantham Tennis Club and Gym, and after a £3.2 million renovation in 2014, the club has seen the likes of former world number 1 tennis player Boris Becker visit its facilities. With indoor, outdoor and junior courts as well as inclusive groups, what's on offer is more than a club. I spoke to Leanne Thirth, MBE, chairman of the club.
Grantham Tennis Club is quite special in its makeup of the people who love it and look after it. I think clubs absolutely live and die on the ethos of the people that run them. We have an incredibly inclusive team, whatever people's age, from tots to 90s. I don't think we have any centenaries, but we definitely have a few 90s. And whatever size, shape, weight, ability, we cater for tennis for all. And I think a lot of clubs are scared of upsetting their membership, and so become a little bit elitist in who they welcome and how they play their tennis. Grantham Tennis Club is very lucky to have a spirit and a family ethos which we managed to maintain from being a very small club into a larger tennis club, which was really important for us. It was the bit that we were the most worried about losing when we developed. But the good news about all of that is that whoever visits the club, whether it's county teams playing competition, whether it's the Lawn Tennis Association putting on its coach education, whether it's people who just come for a cup of coffee or tea in the cafe or to use the other facilities at the tennis club, everybody says what a friendly place it is and how it's easy to walk through the door, and when people walk through the door they're greeted with a smile and not sort of left in a corner. And it is really important to us to maintain the friendliness and that level of inclusivity. And I think having open gates rather than coded gates and easy access is absolutely key to that for any club. We know that we have changed people's lives by giving them a sense of community, by giving them access to an environment for fitness and healthiness. And I think that everything does depend on team and on people and on spirit, and this encapsulates how I feel about Grantham Tennis Club.
An individual who has benefited from the community feeling behind the club is tennis player and assistant coach Nigel Fathers.
I joined the club 2 years ago after not playing tennis ever in my life. Not playing any sport particularly. You don't need to be able to play tennis to come to Grantham Tennis Club. It's not just a tennis club, and I think that's what draws people to the place. The beauty of Grantham Tennis Club is there are so many projects for people with varying disabilities or various mental problems. My wife actually joined tennis club before I did, in the group that's been carrying on behind me now, which is called Feeling Good, and it's for people who don't feel good. So the idea is that you come along, like-minded people, you can talk. You don't need to be able to play tennis, but the beauty is that the people around you will encourage you to come again, and it can be very difficult for some people to get out of the house if they don't feel as though they can do anything. But Grantham Tennis Club will assure them that they can do something. The tennis club for me has given me a new group of friends. It's given me the ability to do sport and to become fitter, but enjoy it. Grantham Tennis Club should be the tennis club that anybody wants to come to if they want to enjoy tennis or a social.
Sue Stannard volunteers for the Feel Good project which Nigel mentioned, and she too appreciates what Grantham Tennis Club has done for her.
I started volunteering probably 2.5 years ago when the club started a Feel Good project for people with mental health issues, and they needed quite a lot of support for those coaching sessions. And I've been doing that ever since. That's once a week. I help individually with a couple of the members of that. I also, hit with them privately. I also have been helping the last 6 months with another project which the club started for people over 65 who've either never played tennis before or are getting back to it. And I found that I've really enjoyed that, so I've now started doing the coaching assistant training. So I'm a level 1 coaching assistant, and I'm going to be doing level 2 shortly. Well, I didn't play as a child. I'd done other sports, not seriously, but more like horse riding and skiing were my main sports. I hadn't done racket sports. Then I met my husband at some vast age, and he'd just started playing tennis and is a very good sportsman, and he taught me to play. This was about 20 years ago. And I played on and off for a bit. Then I had to stop because firstly I broke my wrist. It was my racket playing wrist. Then I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which was quite serious, so I had a lot of surgery and chemo, and I couldn't play for about 4 years altogether. And actually by coincidence, 5 years ago today, I picked up the racket for the first time again after that, not knowing whether I'd be able to play because of the physical restrictions. And sort of 5 years on, it's amazing that I'm fit, active, and can do all those things. So again, I suppose that ties in with the volunteering. Now, I feel hugely privileged that tennis has given me back a lot of my fitness, and the club has contributed a lot to my own sort of post-cancer rehabilitation. So volunteering actually really links into that and makes me feel I'm contributing. It was a bit scary because I'm right-handed, the cancer was on the right side, I'd had a reconstruction, so I had a lot of scar tissue, and I really didn't know if my arm would handle it. You may not know this, but you can get something called lymphedema after that type of surgery, which causes swelling, and I thought there was a risk of that if I tried tennis. But it felt really good, and I think probably it wasn't the first time, but the second time I tried to play. In fact, the first time I came here to this club with my husband, he actually hit me in the face with a tennis ball. So that wasn't the greatest start, but his response to that was to say, well, it was a lovely backhand. So I sort of really was thrown in at the deep end again, trying to play. I felt really inadequate to start with. But the club was so supportive about that. People were very kind and understanding, and I pretty soon got sort of back into it, and it felt really, really good to be able to play again. I mean, personally, I wasn't prepared to see myself as someone who's had cancer and is in their 60s and therefore can't do things. I'm sort of act your shoe size, not your age. And I just think you really have to try everything you can for as long as you can. And it's been fantastic for me. I can give the 20-somethings a run around at times for fitness, so go for it.
Grantham Tennis Club also has classes for wheelchair and disability tennis groups. Paul Singleton coaches for both.
My background in tennis is that I became disabled 6 years ago. I had both my legs chopped off. And then somebody that I'd met through being in a wheelchair said that there was going to be some wheelchair tennis, and did I fancy having a go? So I'd never played tennis before, and since I'd been disabled I'd been really poorly and I'd not had any sport or anything, so I thought it was worth a try. And then obviously as soon as I got here I loved it. Started playing with my kids and helping out coaching straight away. So I'd done a lot of coaching in other sports before. And then just gone from there really, just done more and more. I'd been so poorly that I couldn't do anything. It's like even just sitting up was difficult, and I'd spent a long time not doing anything because I couldn't do anything, and then it was just the right time. I just started going out a lot more, and obviously having a new sport to learn, challenging yourself, and obviously the exercise as well was amazing. And then you've seen yourself already how friendly everybody is. It's so nice to, you could just, even if I weren't playing tennis, I'd probably still come just to have a chat to everybody. So obviously I did it a bit extreme in how much I played and came every day and stuff, but for all of our players I think it makes a difference to their lives. It's not just an hour's worth of playing tennis, it's meeting new people and having something to focus on. First time that I ever played, I actually, because you're supposed to start off quite steady, because I'd not even been in a wheelchair for long, well, or not been going out in a wheelchair for long. So the first time I actually played, I ruined a pair of shorts because the wheel was touching my leg and I didn't notice, and I also had no skin left on my hands, so I'd literally just scraped all my skin. Obviously they got used to it now. One of the weird things that we do in wheelchair tennis that able-bodied mainstream don't have to do is to turn around and not look at the ball. So when we are pushing towards the court and hit a ball, and to get backwards I have to turn backwards, so I can't run backwards, not really. And for some of our other groups, so some are wheelchair and learning disabilities, they might not do anything else. This might be the main thing that they do every week. So like I said earlier, it's more than just playing a bit of tennis. It's like really exciting for them, and it is really rewarding. Just got to bite the bullet and come. It is friendliest place in the world, so even if you were somehow not doing the things that you should be doing, that nobody's ever going to say anything. Only people are going to help you anyway. So, and then that is the only way you find out, by trying. And the more times that you do it, obviously the easier it gets. There's probably somebody sat within 500 yards of this place that's in a wheelchair that's never thought about coming, that'd love it. So the more the things like this that we can do, the more advertising, the more things we get in the paper, then hopefully we get more people. We have more sessions now. This club's won Disability Club of the Year for the whole country. The more we do, hopefully the more people that we can reach and help.
With participation figures in tennis falling, those who love the game are hoping others can join in the future.
Tennis is a wonderful sport for health and well-being, and it is a very social sport. We have a lot of people who come down for the social aspects of the sport. It's not a sport you can easily play by yourself. So it's a very inclusive sport, and it's a very community-led sport. If people have the will to stand on a tennis court, we have smaller courts and softer balls that can introduce people to the game, and people can progress. We've got an amazing group of coaches, and I think any club will have a facility, soft tennis balls, shorter rackets, smaller playing areas, so people can be introduced to the sport if their levels of fitness or their levels of movement aren't top notch. My mother has photographs of me in a baby grow on a tennis court with a ball in my hand and a hat on my head, so I've been falling asleep and waking up to tennis balls being hit all my life. I've played the best tennis for my club and for my county in my veteran years, so from 35 upwards, where I've represented the county. And I was started playing on the seniors tour 3 years ago, and managed to achieve English and British colours, represented my country in Germany last year at the World Team Championships. So I've sort of got better as I've got older. Certainly love my tennis now, appreciate being able to still play through health and fitness. So it's important to me to keep well. Love of the game is still there, and the teamwork and the fun that goes along with it is what it's all about, really.